Prologue. Gold was sought long before money, before states, before borders. It had no practical use, yet it always carried a special power. For thousands of years, gold became the cause of wars, destruction, and the struggle for power. To understand why a simple metal became one of the most desired objects in human history, it is not enough to begin with civilizations. This story begins much earlier, at a moment when there were no people and not even the earth itself. Chapter 1: The Origin of Gold. Gold appeared long before humanity, long before cities, and even before the earth itself. When our planet did not yet exist, gold was already part of the universe. Earth cannot create gold. Neither volcanoes, nor oceans, nor the immense pressure deep within the planet are capable of producing this metal. Gold does not appear over time and is not formed by processes on Earth. Gold is born in space, in rare and powerful moments, when the life of a star comes to an end, when massive celestial bodies collide, releasing energy beyond imagination. It is in moments like these that heavy elements are formed. One of them is gold. Particles of gold scatter across the universe. They travel for millions of years. They mix with cosmic dust, becoming part of the material from which planets are formed. When Earth was first forming, it was hot and molten. Metals within it moved slowly, guided by gravity. Gold, one of the heaviest metals, almost immediately sank deep into the planet. Most of Earth's gold ended up in places no human will ever reach. The gold we find today is only a small fraction. Accidental remnants and fragments that returned closer to the surface through the movement of rock, pressure, and water. Masatiya Chapter 2. Why gold is different from other metals. Gold stands out immediately. Almost all metals look the same, silvery white, but gold is yellow. The reason lies in physics. Gold atoms are extremely heavy. Their electrons move so fast that the metal interacts with light in a unique way. Gold absorbs the blue part of the spectrum and reflects yellow and red. Without this effect, gold would look like an ordinary grey metal. Color was not just decoration, it was an instant signal. Gold could be recognized at a glance, without instruments, without knowledge, and without explanation. Wherever gold is found, in the ground, in water, or in open air, it remains the same. That is why objects made of gold, created thousands of years ago, often look almost unchanged. Gold does not age the way other materials do. Gold is extremely dense. It is heavy for its size. This made it almost impossible to counterfeit without precise knowledge. Even without instruments, without chemistry, and without technology, a person could feel that what they were holding was real metal. Gold did not conceal deception. Impurities immediately changed its properties. That is why gold was trusted long before science. The combination of these qualities, recognizability, resistance to time, and physical certainty, made gold special. It required no proof. It needed no explanation. It was simply different. Chapter 3. Why gold is so rare. If gold appeared long before Earth, a logical question arises. Why is there so little of it? The reason is that gold was never distributed evenly. It did not gather in large masses and never formed vast deposits. When Earth was young and molten, gold, as one of the heaviest metals, almost immediately sank deep into the interior of the planet, to places inaccessible to humans. Only a small portion remained near the surface. Random fragments, scattered particles. Over time, Earth's crust changed. Rocks moved, rose and sank, and were broken down by water, pressure, and temperature. Sometimes these processes brought gold closer to the surface, but never in large quantities. That is why gold is rare. Most often, it appears as tiny inclusions, thin veins or isolated particles dispersed within rock. To find even a small amount of gold, humans must process enormous volumes of stone. Tons of rock for a tiny result. Most searches lead to nothing, and only rarely do traces appear. Gold is difficult to find, not because it is hidden, but because nature itself made it rare. This is the true reason gold is valued, not for its shine, not for its beauty, but for its exceptional rarity. Chapter 4. Humans and Gold. History has not preserved the name of the first person who encountered gold, not because it was unimportant, but because at that moment no one yet understood the meaning of that encounter. Humans simply lived. They moved. They searched for food. They followed water and the sun. And one day, something appeared in their hands that was unlike anything they had seen before. Gold did not resemble stone. It did not crumble. It did not darken. It did not disappear with time. Even without words or knowledge, it was clear this was something different. Gold became the first metal humans encountered, not because they were smarter, and not because they were searching for it, but because gold was already lying on the surface, in riverbeds, among sand and stone. It did not rust. It did not break down. It did not change over time. It reflected light. It shone in the sun. It could be taken in the hands. Its weight could be felt. It could be bent and shaped. But gold was not used for weapons. It was too soft and unsuitable for hunting or fighting. Instead, it was suited for something else, for signs, for ornaments, and for objects that had no direct practical use but carried meaning. Humans did not yet call this value. They did not associate gold with wealth, and they did not build systems of exchange around it. But they already distinguished it from everything else. They kept it, passed it on, used it in rituals and symbols. Thus, gold became not a tool of survival, but a tool of meaning. Not a means, but a sign. And it was from this moment that the history of a special relationship between humans and gold began. Chapter 5. The earliest gold artifacts. The oldest gold artifacts discovered by archaeologists date back to the 5th millennium before the Common Era. This was a time when humans did not yet know writing, did not build empires, and did not measure history in years. And yet, even then, gold already held a special place in human life. Some of these discoveries were made in the territory of the modern Balkans. They were not tools, not weapons, and not objects of everyday use. They were ornaments, ritual objects, and signs of status. Gold was not used for survival, but for the expression of meaning. People adorned themselves not because it was necessary, but because they wanted to signify something, their position, their role, and their connection to the world. In ancient Egypt, gold was associated with the sun and eternity. It was considered the metal of the gods, not because it was rare, but because it did not change, did not rust, did not darken, and seemed untouched by time. Gold adorned temples, tombs, and figures of rulers. In Mesopotamia, it was used in rituals and in the adornment of the elite. It emphasized closeness to power, to the gods, and to the established order of the world. Gold was meant to accompany humans not only in life, but also after death. In South America, long before the arrival of Europeans, gold held a sacred meaning. It was not money and did not serve as a means of exchange. It was part of belief, rituals, and the connection between humans and forces they could not explain. Across cultures, gold first appeared not in everyday life, but in symbols. Humans did not yet trade gold or measure value with it. Gold was not a measure of usefulness. It was a carrier of meaning, a sign of significance, and a marker of belonging to something greater. Chapter 6. When gold became power. Over time, humans realized that gold was rare, and everything rare, sooner or later, becomes valuable. Gold did not spoil, it did not change, it did not disappear with time. It was not afraid of fire, it did not yield to water, and it preserved its form even when everything else collapsed. Gradually, gold became an ideal material for storing value, not because it was the most useful, but because it was the most reliable. This is how coins appeared. Crowns, symbols of power. Gold ceased to be just a beautiful metal. It became a symbol of control. Gold became a measure of trust. It was accepted in different countries, in different cultures, in different eras. Not because of agreements, and not because of laws, but because everyone understood its value would not disappear tomorrow. Some gold objects were created not for beauty, but to demonstrate power. Massive statues, thrones, symbols of empires. Where gold appeared, hierarchy appeared as well. Those who possessed it possessed influence. Thus, gold ceased to be just a metal and became an instrument of control. Not a weapon, but a sign of superiority, not a means of survival, but proof of power. Chapter 7. Where gold is mined around the world. Gold exists almost everywhere, but on the Earth's surface it is practically absent. In the Earth's crust it is distributed unevenly, not in layers and not in veins that are easy to see, but as tiny particles scattered through rock. That is why gold mining has never been a simple search for shine. Today, gold is mined on every continent except Antarctica. The largest deposits are located in Canada, the United States, Australia, South Africa, China, Russia, and in South American countries such as Peru and Chile. But geography here is only a consequence, not the cause. The real reason is geology. Gold appears where ancient processes created conditions for its concentration. In fault zones, in ancient rock formations, and in places where magma, pressure, and time worked together for millions of years. In ancient times, humans did not know geology, but they observed. They noticed that gold most often appeared in riverbeds, where water breaks down rock and carries away everything light, leaving only what is heavy. In this way, gold was found by its weight, by the fact that it settled at the bottom. For this, simple tools were used: wooden pans, bowls, and slanted surfaces over which water was poured. Sometimes the search was accompanied by belief and rituals. Gold was sought through signs, dreams, and the behavior of animals. But even then, the decisive factor remained physics. Today, gold mining is an exact science. Geophysical surveys, rock composition analysis, and magnetic and gravitational measurements are used. In the ground, miners search not for gold itself, but for signs of its presence, elements that often accompany it. Based on this data, models are built, depths are calculated, and only then does extraction begin. Drilling rigs, open pits, underground mines, and chemical extraction methods are used. Gold is no longer searched for with the eyes, it is found through calculation. And that is why, despite technology, it remains rare. Humans do not create gold. They only search for what nature has hidden deep inside the earth. Chapter 8. Gold in our lives today. Today, gold is rarely associated with everyday life. We are used to thinking of it as jewelry or a way to store wealth. But in reality, gold surrounds us far more often than we realize. We simply do not see it. Gold is one of the best conductors of electricity. It does not rust, does not oxidize, and does not lose its properties over time. That is why it is used wherever maximum reliability is required. Every smartphone contains gold in microscopic amounts, but in critically important places: contacts, microchips, and connections that must work reliably for years without failure. The same is true for computers, servers, satellites, and communication equipment. If a contact oxidizes, the device fails. Gold solves this problem. In aviation and space, gold is used not only as a conductor, but also as protection. Thin gold coatings reflect heat and radiation. That is why the visors of astronauts' helmets have a gold layer that protects their eyes from solar radiation in the vacuum of space. In medicine, gold also plays an unobvious but important role. It is used in dentistry, implants, and microsurgery. Gold is biologically inert. The body does not perceive it as a threat and does not reject it. Today, gold is even used in the treatment of cancer. Gold nanoparticles are applied in targeted therapy, heating and destroying tumor cells without damaging healthy tissue. Gold is also used in the chemical industry as a catalyst, as well as in environmental technologies and energy systems where errors are unacceptable. But perhaps its least visible role is in the financial system. Although gold has long ceased to be the basis of currencies, central banks continue to hold it in their reserves. Gold remains an anchor of trust because it does not depend on promises, servers, or electricity. It is a physical metal that cannot be switched off. Gold no longer lies in chests or crowns. It works silently, invisibly, every day. Chapter 9. The Dark Side of Gold. For most of history, gold has been seen as a symbol of stability and value. But wherever a rare resource appears, tension follows. Gold did not create conflicts by itself, but it intensified existing human contradictions. In different eras, the pursuit of gold led to major social upheavals. Gold rushes of the 19th century in North America, Australia, and South Africa reshaped entire regions, accelerating growth while also creating inequality, exploitation, and environmental damage. Modern gold mining in some parts of the world is still associated with serious problems. Illegal operations, lack of regulation, and harsh working conditions remain a reality in certain regions of Africa, South America, and Asia. These processes are often invisible to the final consumer, yet they form the hidden cost of the metal. The environmental impact of gold mining is also well documented. River pollution, soil degradation, and the destruction of ecosystems are studied by international and environmental organizations. The price of gold is measured not only in money, but also in long-term changes to nature. For this reason, the 21st century has seen the rise of international initiatives to control the origin of gold. Certification systems, transparent supply chains, and responsibility standards have become part of a global effort. The goal is not to abandon gold, but to reduce the human and environmental cost of obtaining it. Gold has thus become an object of ethical consideration. It remains valuable, but it increasingly raises a different question: not how much it is worth, but at what cost it is obtained. Chapter 10. The gold of the future. For a long time, gold was associated with the past, coins, treasures, and crowns. Today, its meaning is shifting toward technology and sustainability. A large share of the world's gold is no longer underground, but already embedded in modern devices. Smartphones, computers, servers, and communication equipment contain small yet valuable amounts of gold. This fact forms the basis of what is known as urban mining. Studies show that electronic waste can contain higher concentrations of gold than natural ore. At the same time, recycling allows this metal to be recovered without destroying landscapes or expanding traditional mining operations. Gold recycling is becoming a key direction for the future. It is not a replacement for mining, but its logical continuation in a technological world. As devices become more complex, the role of gold as a material of reliability becomes even more important. Scientific research confirms that gold loses virtually none of its properties through reuse. This makes it a unique element of a circular system, a metal that can return to production again and again. In this way, gold is gradually changing its role. It is no longer only a symbol of accumulation, but a resource of sustainability. Not a sign of past power, but a material supporting the future of technology and the global economy. Perhaps this is the new meaning of gold, not in how much is stored, but in how wisely it is used. Final. The gold standard. Over thousands of years, the world has changed many times. Empires disappeared, borders changed, and systems collapsed that once seemed eternal. But gold remained. It survived wars, revolutions, the collapse of states, and the change of eras. Not because it ruled the world, but because it did not depend on human decisions. Gold does not require trust in governments, markets, or promises. It is a physical value that exists on its own. That is why people have always seen gold as a foundation, not a guarantee of wealth, but a sense of stability. Gold does not give answers to every question, but it survives time. And perhaps that is its true meaning, not in its price, but in its ability to remain when everything else changes.